Welcome in. Today's topic of discussion is going to be contracts, and we're going to jump right into it. But before we do that, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully you guys are getting some value from it. And I want to make sure you guys know exactly what you're doing when you're going and lock this contract up. Rule of thumb before you get into this video is make sure you practice it. You listen to this video multiple times, and then you do a great job of explaining it to your spouse, maybe somebody you love, before you actually go do the real thing, because true champions, they prepare for the battle. So make sure you prepare, you listen to it, and you go into it confident knowing that you can lock that property up. Let's go. So let's jump into the standard purchase agreement, sale agreement. Now, I typically use a TREC contract. This is just one that we use throughout every 50 states. All you need is a real estate attorney, and some title companies actually take this in Texas and anywhere else, to be honest with you. It's just regular agreement that's standard amongst the U.S. So with that being said, let's start with it. The agreement is made on the 5th of June, 2020, which is self-explanatory, between the sellers, whoever the seller is. You got to put all the sellers right there. So if it's just husband and wife, you need both names. Just single lady, you just need both. Single people, just one name, right? If there's people inherited the property, you need every single sibling on that line. Buyers, who is the buyers? I'm the buyer, Jordan Aubrey. Now, this is very important. This document already has and the signs on it, so it puts you in a great place. If it didn't have and the signs on it, we will probably be in trouble with that, because we can't assign a contract that don't have and or sign. That gives us the option to be able to sign it. Now, with that being said, it gives us the option, but standard contracts don't have that on it. So this one is easy because it has it on here. Standard contracts don't have it on there. So if you don't put it on there, you can't technically assign this agreement. Now, what you could do is a simultaneous close or double close. Now, you talk to your company about that if you forget to put that on there. Or you can do a double close, and that should work just as fine, just as smooth. So you have that. Now we got street address, 123 Main Street, city, state, and zip, kind of self-explanatory. Legal description is just going to be asking for the lot and block info. So we want to talk about exactly which property we're talking about. I know it's 123 Main Street, but which lot is that, and which block is that, right? That's all it's asking. So if you can get that information from the actual county appraisal district, which should be good information for you, because they're going to tell you the name, how long they own it, property taxes, the valuation of the property as far as what it appraised for on their area. So it's pretty good stuff. You should be familiar with the county appraisal district in your area regardless. Okay, let's jump into the money portion of this document, in which I would say is the most important. Let's talk about first, earnest money deposit. A lot of people typically ask, what is that? And is that what I'm buying the house for? Or do I pay that to the title company? Or do I give that to the seller? Explain it a little bit more. I definitely will. So with that being said, earnest money deposit is just skin in the game. It's not what you're actually purchasing the property for. Ultimately, it's just skin in the game, saying, hey, good faith that I'm putting this $10,000 down, which we have example right here, $10,000 down to the title company to let you know that I'm serious about paying $50,000 later on the 20th this month. So that's all earnest money is. Earnest money is actually going to be given to the title company. You do not give earnest money to the seller. And it's the reason why you don't do that, because this is skin in the game. So if you was to come up with a fee that's $100, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, whatever it is, the earnest money is going to go to the title company. And you're going to get that earnest money back whenever you borrow the money or whatever the case may be. So say, for instance, we do $10 here. Typically, if I was to sign this contract, I'll get that $10 back because it was my earnest money. It's not my end buyer's earnest money. So know that that is very important when wholesaling. If I was to put $2,000 there, know that I will get my $2,000 earnest money back after I do the deal. Next thing we got is due diligence fee. Now, this can be called option period as well, or option money as well. With that being said, this gives us a time to do diligence. This gives us a time to opt out of the contract. That's why we use those particular terms for this second line right here for due diligence, is because it gives us the power to be able to get out of that contract. Now, what makes this powerful is that it typically comes with an amount of time that you've been allowed it to actually do your due diligence, typically 10 to 14 days. Regardless where it's at, sometimes you may close 2 months out and do a 30-day due diligence period.
So you got to understand exactly what you have and what you're going to be able to. You have to understand exactly how long you got, but as long as you understand that, you know that, hey, I can opt out of this contract. So say for instance, right now we go to below, step below, we got purchase price $50,000. Say for instance, we locked the deal up at $50,000, but we shopped it out to all our buyers, and none of them are coming at $50,000, or none of them are coming over. Everybody's coming in at 45, 42, 43. Well, if we can't go back and renegotiate with that seller, what we're going to end up doing is essentially what we're going to end up doing is sending over a termination for the contract and get our earnest money back. We won't get that option fee or the due diligence fee back. We'll get our earnest money back, and ultimately we end up costing us $10,000 to shop and see if we can make 10, right, or 15, right? So with that being said, the due diligence is very, very important on day 9, day 10. If you don't have that money, or you don't have an end buyer that wants the property, what you're going to go and do is you're going to go into the you'll go back into the deal, renegotiate. But if they don't take the renegotiations, ultimately all you're going to do is terminate your contract, which you have an option to do so. You have a due diligence fee and period to do so. So we talk a little bit about that later on in the video. And then total purchase, is that's self-explanatory, guys. That's what we actually buying the property for. So total purchase is $50,000. We don't put cash here because sometimes we use hard money lenders. So just put the 50 grand and keep on rocking and rolling. But it's definitely an easy way to write up the contract and get it all squared away.
Let's break down to some of these line item by line item, just basically what's going on. I'm not going to read everything word for word, but I will break down some things. So earnest money, hey, to be deposited by a title company, to be deposited with the title company or attorney within 48 hours of accepting ratification of offer. So basically it's just saying, hey, once we sign this agreement, I have 2 days to get my money to the title company. This $10 that we talked about, I have 10 days to get 2 days to get this $10 to the title company. Prorations in pounds of securities, basically all they're saying is that anything before you agree to purchase this property, this is what you're going to get. Right? Anything that you had before me purchasing it, you got to pay that off. Loan, interest, property taxes, insurance, rents. Rents is very important because rents is prorated. So if I close on the 15th and there's a tenant in that property, and I plan on keeping the tenant in there, that means through the 1st through the 15th is actually their money. The 16th to the 30th is actually my money. So I'm gonna need that rent check. I'm gonna need half of it coming in my bank account. On top of that, I'm gonna need all security deposits. So if they put $2,000 down, I'm gonna need that $2,000 back. Typically it comes out the seller of the house, but that's money you need back because that's money that's indeed with the tenant. So that's very important. And like I said right here, it mentions that any shortage of these accounts shall be charged back to the seller at closing. So basically saying it's going to come out of that $50,000. Closing date and transfer of title. So we got closing date. The transaction should close on or before 6. It's pretty small, but it says 6/20/22. So that's in 2 weeks from today, 2020. And closing will be held at Main Street Title Company. So this is where you take your earnest money to the title company. If you don't have one yet, do not put one in that line, because if you put one in that line, you will, and say if I was going with Main Street Title Company, but I went there and they didn't accept this agreement, what's going to happen is they're going to say, oh, well, you got to get an amendment switching over to title company. And for whatever reason, if you don't have a title company, don't do this, because that can backfire tremendously on you. So before you have a title company, please do not put a title company in there. When you have a title company, you know they accept this agreement because you asked, you talked to them. At that point, you can put that title company there. But outside of that, you can't. So understand that for sure. Understand that. Basically, this right here is just saying the seller is gonna provide title insurance and all that. Now, when I do deals, I don't actually make my sellers pay for anything outside of their liens that was before. So all type of closings, that's going to be on me. Insurance, all that after closing is going to be on me. I'm not taking that out of their money because they're giving it to me at a discount. So I'll come back and in special provisions or additional terms, I'll address that. So we got damage to the property. That's basically saying, hey, if the property, if we're putting it on the contract as is condition, but if it gets worse, and say if it's a water leak, we're filing insurance on your insurance. So make sure the property is insured, or we're gonna have to get out of this. We're gonna have to get out of this contract. We're gonna kill the contract. Defaults, basically saying, hey, seller, you need to bring your tail to the title company and sell this particular property. Once you sign it, there's no looking back, where the property is sold for whatever amount it is, and we have all rights to take you to court if we need you. All right, and it's going to be on them as well. Number 6, assessors and signees, basically saying everybody's going to agree to this information that's on here. So, hey, terms and conditions. The terms and conditions of this contract shall bind all successors, heirs, administrators, trustees, executors, assignees of the respective parties. So it's basically saying, hey, if you want part of this, if you're in buyer and you want this deal, you're gonna have to agree to all these terms. So if you don't want to pay closing, hey, that's perfectly fine. If you sign this, you're gonna have to pay closing. It binds, everybody's binded in this process. Then we got number 7, seller agreed the buyer may advertise property and have access to reasonable hours showing property. Basically, that is great because that allows us to have access to the property, and it's not me asking them anymore. No, this is according to the document. We have rights to do so. So you don't have to flex your muscle unless it's time to do that. But with that being said, you want to make sure that you do have access to get that property under contract. Inspections, basically this is our option period where we're talking about due diligence period. Inspections, buyer shall have 10 days from effective date, due diligence period, within to have the inspection of the property performed. A buyer shall desire the utility service shall be made available to sellers during the inspection period. So basically just saying, hey, we got to do our due diligence on this particular property. We have 10 days to do so. And in these 10 days of doing our due diligence, if anything was to go wrong, hey, we'll just pull out of the contract. We have rights to pull out of the contract. No harm, no foul. And if it also states at the bottom here, if we were to pull out of that contract, we actually get all our earnest money back. We don't get an option period because that was basically us paying rent for the due diligence period. But we do get all our earnest money back. So say if you had $5,000 there, it's stating right here that, hey, if we terminate in a timely manner, we're going to get all our money back. And that's the most important thing, just getting your money back out of it. Additional terms and conditions. This is what I like to call special provisions. That's typically what we call it. But buyer will purchase property as is and will pay all closing costs. So it's kind of a negotiation tactic. Hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and for you, since you're taking this price, I'm going to go ahead and pay all closing costs, the $2,000-$3,000 that typically costs to do. We're going to go ahead and take care of all of that. So the seller looks at it as a win-win. You're doing a little bit more for them. Then right here, self-explanatory. You date it and you sign it, and we keep on rocking and rolling. And that's contracts. So, hey, keep winning. Let's go.